Welcome back on deynonmod. Today I want to propose you a video about the unboxing review about the Wazdakka issue 524 released by the Genshin for May 2026. We can start to see from the cover that it's quite amazing. It's written about a Josima with a mage, and you can see from the writing here that it's written about Arcan duel. And really, before even start to see about the White Dwarf, I can say you that you could say, shut up and take my money, cause either that you like Age of Sigmar or Warhammer 40k, you'd be really quite interested about such White Dwarf, okay? Now, before to see the contents inside and the inserts inside even before, we can make the moment of rant. Cause Givo, please, can you send this better? Cause I bought it new, and you can see that it's ruined in every piece here like this. Also in the back, it's not really quite great, and it was the best that it was in the store. It was really messed up, and really the other were even worse than this. Okay, I understand that you can control, but you can decide which service or how to send this White Dwarf, because anyway it's 10 euros, so it's not quite cheap. Okay, it's a price of the book, so it will be like to have them treated better, sent around the world. So please take a note about these things. Okay, stop the moment of the rant. Okay, here we say about the insert that are inside. Here we have these ones that are here, that it's a, I can say, plans where we're going to play with the Arcan duels that we noticed before. And on the other side, we had this that could be used as sort of background for your photos or so on. Okay, you have to pay attention about this side. Eventually, you can detach this part and cut a bit, but you risk to ruin about this side. So, okay, it's something that I would prefer better in some way, or you can try to photocopy it and so use much better. Then I had these ones that are the cards used for the Arcan duel, and we'll see a bit. But anyway, I'm quite curious eventually to try maybe to these Arcan duels as game. Here we can see the mission that are usually included, so the one about Warhammer 40k, and here the one about Age of Sigmar. As usual, they are from older versions. So here, for example, we have one that is from 2022, so it's quite recent compared to others. And here we can see the alternative cover that we have. So in this case, you have that it's the same that we have about the Wazdakka here without any writing. And remember that you can have this one only making a subscription to Wazdakka, so you can save money and have the alternative cover. Even if some people said me that it was not good service, but I have not used, so I can't say about. And here we can see that at least this time they maintained the alternative cover other than the one that we're seeing here. So maybe that one was the one that it was different. Okay, anyway, pay attention about this one, because it could be really quite intriguing eventually. So now we can start to see about the contents. Here you can see the introduction about the Wazdakka, and here the contents inside, and here the insert that we've seen before. So we can start with the part about the Age of Sigmar part. Usually it's after, but this time it's at the beginning. And you can see the talking about the Collegiate of War, and it's really quite intriguing because they give you quite a lot of information about the mages in Age of Sigmar, at least for the city of Sigmar. So it's really quite nice in such a way, because there are tons of information. Really, this is one that I really quite like, because there are a lot of background, some little talking about really quite intriguing as option. And then we can see about the things that I talked before. So the part about creating your mage. So it's really quite interesting. I love the Anvil Apotheosis, and I still hope that in the future this part will be really for the match you play, so that you can create your character and have fun creating your own one. It's really something that it will be amazing, having the possibility to translate this one from the Path to Glory part to the option of having the match play related about this one. At least the main chart, only one with a maximum points available, it would be quite amazing. I really quite like. I, as always, love the part about the images here, and really something that it's really quite intriguing. Here we have some example of some of the images that has been created, so it can be quite inspirational in my opinion. So I suggest you to try eventually to create something like this, because it will be funny in my opinion. And then the Arcan duel itself, so we have seen that it's the same of the cover here, okay. And it's really quite nice, because here we can play with this one to make a sort of comparison and confrontation about the mages themselves. So it's quite intriguing, because it's a game that I'd really like to try to experiment. And then we move to one interesting part, and it's about the Armageddon. This is because it's related to the release of the fourth part of the end campaign about the 10th edition. And I want to remember that about the Return of Yarrick, I made my review. I leave you the link in the description about. So if you're interested to know about what there is inside, I made a video related, so it could be really quite interesting about. And it's something that I always loved, because Armageddon is one of the really film campaigns that I almost have everything related about. So much that in the past I even bought myself the Armageddon from the third edition here. So it's quite intriguing as option, because you can have quite a lot of information related. And so here we can find a lot. And believe me, here it's one of the reasons because I said shut up and take my money, because these articles that we see about Armageddon goes perfectly to be combined what we've seen in the Return of Yarrick, so they can make depth quite a lot. So here you can understand what happened to Armageddon, so how many wars that has been, how there has been some wars that are not declared wars. So technically, for the knowledge of many people, it's the third war of Armageddon, the invasion of Gaskul, this one. Technically should be the fourth one, because there's been forgotten the first one, because it's been removed forcibly by the Grey Knight. Technically again it should be the fifth, because there's been another type of invasion from again the current option. So it's really quite intriguing to know and decide okay, which version you want. Is the third, fourth or fifth War Armageddon? It's really quite intriguing. Here are some of the regiments that are participating in Armageddon. It's really quite nice. And here it's really quite intriguing, because they can give you some idea. For example, this it's one of the main themes related about the Return of Yarrick, so it's something that it's really quite nice. And really explain what happened about the story of Armageddon, and it's really quite intriguing one. Moreover, because remember that I told you about the 5 wars technically that should be related about the part that it's for Armageddon. Technically, here we can see a refer about something even before, and it's about the Crusade. And you notice a name, Ullanor, and really, it's quite interesting as story. So they give you quite a lot of option, and here they can give you quite a lot of baits, so that you can think that you know a bit, but at the same time they continue it's such or in another such way, because oops, we forgot something, but we add something else. Here we have some of the main characters that are participating about the wars about Armageddon in the past and now. For example, here we have Tycho, that it's really breaking off my heart about, but okay. Anyway, it's really quite intriguing, because here you can say and see something that it's really quite intriguing. You have a map related about Armageddon. It's the same map that we see in the Return of Yarrick, so it's really quite intriguing. Moreover, you have quite a bonus out of this, because here we have some of the events, okay, summary ones that are for the various hives and so on, and it's really quite intriguing. So here they give you quite a lot of information that you can combine and gain even more. It's really something that it's amazing in my opinion, really quite worth. And here we have the part about the Temporal Distort, about the story of the Commissary Yarrick. Sincerely, it's really quite interesting, because we can see how much old is the story itself. And believe me, for example, this, as you can see, I show you about my here, the first one that I have, so this one, and you can see that it's from 2000, so guess how much I missed even before, and still it's really quite intriguing one. I quite appreciate about such things. There is, remember, also the part about the Battlereport related, and also the Return of Yarrick, that remember that it's available. There are also other stories that are related. For example, there is the Green Tide and the Carnage Ending that bring up also other stories that are mainly related about, for example, Katsutraka, also the Great Prophet of the Wag. So there are tons of things that you can use to go depth about the various characters and about Armageddon itself. So it's really quite intriguing one. I quite appreciate about such thing. They had this, that it's a continuation of what we see in the previous White Dwarf, so the Knight Crusade, and here you can see tons of ways to have modifying, personalized the part about the Imperial Knights, and I find it really quite intriguing, because it's a really nice way to have inspiration that could be scheme of color, modification, personalization, so you can use this as a sort of referral. I really quite appreciate such thing, because you can see even simple modifying like this that could be really quite crazy, but at the same time really quite amazing, because remember that this technically it's a sort of Imperial Knight that wanted to imitate a Warlord Titan, so okay, it's really quite amazing one. And here we can see other modifying that are really quite simple, scheme of color. As I said, it's really quite amazing. I love such type of thing, because for example, I'm still trying to think about how to bring up, as I show you in the previous White Dwarf, about Imperial Knights, so monetize the monetization and the payment eventually. So I'm thinking about to create a video related about, but you can see that we can have from the Chaos and the Imperial ones that have a lot of things that could be really quite nice. For example, here we have this one that it's wow, an axe, okay, size this type. So you can have quite a lot of fun, and it's really quite intriguing. It's something that you have to decide if you want to proceed, modify, or so on, or you can go even more in depth, because you can create your own ones that are completely modified. Okay, there remain a few things that are from original ones, and then the other part are completely okay, personalized totally. But at the same time, it's a show of what you can gain from personalized such things. So I really quite appreciate it, and it's really quite amazing. Then this part that it's about how to improve the part of we can talk creating your army. Okay, so remember that it's the third part of what we see in two previous White Dwarf. So we have this one that it's the number 519 of December 2025, and this one that I still suggest you to buy if you are able, because it's really quite nice, that it's the 522 that it's from March 2026. So you can see that there's been quite a lot of things that are really quite intriguing. So here it's a way to understand how to improve, and I quite like the idea, so it's not bad at all. Moreover, there is also a mission that can make you introduce step by step to improving these things. Okay, remember that soon that will be the 11th edition that it's coming. Still, it will be compatible with the 10th. And anyway, these ways to step by step improve your army, it's I think always nice, so not bad. And then we have the Wazdakka WAG. Here it's really quite fantastic. This is an article that it's worth all the White Dwarf, because there are tons of information that otherwise you do not have, because you have some information in the Return of Yarrick, but not everything. So it's really quite nice to know what happened to the story of Wazdakka itself. For example, how it happened to be able to technically kill Titan itself, technically the first of the Titan that it killed. So it's really quite intriguing. Okay, nice. Here some of the happening that brought okay the developership of Wazdakka itself. So really quite amazing one, with some of the subcharters related about the speed wag. And really, it's something that otherwise you do not so easily find, so it's quite intriguing. I quite appreciate about such things. Then we had the part here that it's related about having the Battlereport, and here it's interesting because it's going to use the missions that we have seen in the Return of Yarrick about the Gauntlet, and armies that are related about events that happened during the Return of Yarrick. So we have the comparison of the Astra militarum with the charter that was inside the stopping of the Speedwag during the events, and the Speedwag itself. So it's really quite intriguing, because it's a sort of representation of what could be called out for an army to represent and still be in some way competitive, so not bad at all. And as usual, I suggest you to watch about and read about such options, because you could find maybe some inspiration about some modifying, some painting, or maybe some strategies. Okay. or maybe use some of these referral about the photos to create your own diorama, because you find something that could be quite nice. So it's always quite intriguing, or simply you appreciate about the battle itself, because it could happen, it's not a problem. Moreover, it's really quite nice because this, for example, it's an imaging that we see also later, but it shows you what you can gain from such imaging. So a little shot, okay, but at the same time something that could be an inspiration maybe for some diorama. It's something that I appreciate, because I always suggest you to watch also the imaging other than simple read, because there it's a really good combination in my opinion, so not bad at all. And here we can see about, I skipped the result, okay, not to worry. And here we can see about what happened for the model and history about Wazdakka itself. About this one, it's quite interesting to know that it's since the 1994 that it was related about having some information about Wazdakka itself, but the first codex that had about the orcs is from 1999. So even here there was Wazdakka, still I don't have everything about him too, and it's really quite nice because they explained how they arrived to such a model that it's quite amazing. Remember that it was presented also in the Warhammer community, so not bad at all. And here it's quite nice because they explain how they arrived to have such model, and at the same time there are some notes about the background too, so it's really quite intriguing about. And here about the painting, so for the ones that are interested about creating the same scheme of color, could be quite a good information. And also some modifying, specifying about what you can paint, how you can paint, so a little painting for the vehicles or the orcs themselves, so not bad at all. I think that it's really quite nice because there are tricks anyway you could use even if you don't use this specific orcs models or so on. It's really quite nice because there are tricks that are always quite nice, moreover about basing, debasing and so on, so not bad. Then we have this that it's about kill team, and here it's interesting because again it's related about Armageddon, in this case about High Tempestora, so it's quite nice because remember that it was something that it was related to the second war of Armageddon eventually, so not bad in my opinion because it's really quite intriguing. Okay, I don't play kill team, but still I can appreciate the reconstruction, the background, and so not bad at all. Here we had the 5th part of the Chornicles of Bain, so with this we conclude this saga about the Black Library. I'm quite curious to see what will happen with the next one, so it's quite nice. As usual, I suggest you to read about this one, because remember, it's for free technically if you yet buy the White Dwarf, having a book of the Black Library available. Maybe you can know an army that you never known about, an author that you maybe like but never wrote about an army specific, or maybe a system itself. So I think that it's really quite intriguing. I quite appreciate such thing really, and it's something that it's worth in my opinion. It's always quite nice to have these ones. Then how about the bunker with the serpentines? Here we can also see about miniatures that has been painted and sewn by clubs or by the readers of the White Dwarf. So it's really quite nice because you can have a lot of information inside and maybe have some suggestion about painting, modifying, conversion and so on. So there have been quite a lot of options that could be quite nice. For example, about these mages, it's always nice to see the colors. Here you can see about also basing, okay, simple rhino and so on. So you can have quite a lot of options, and it's really quite intriguing. Think about this centaur, that it's an amazing one, and wow, it's really fantastic in my opinion. So step by step you can improve quite a lot and have fun about. So it's really quite intriguing that we have something that it anticipates what we'll see in the next White Dwarf, so not bad at all. Here I told you, because here for example they specify about the photo that I told you about the Battlereport that we've seen, that made quite a lot of intriguing ways, okay, so it's not bad at all in my opinion. So here we have the inserts, and then we can see the back that it's about here the mages, okay, they talk about the end spells here, but still it's mainly related about the mages confronting each other, so not bad at all in my opinion. So to say about such White Dwarf, sincerely think that it's amazing. Maybe not my favorite, but amazing. Either that you like the Age of Sigmar part or the Warhammer 40k part. Because if you go to see about the Age of Sigmar part, even if there are few pages, okay, Still, we have background about the Collegiate magic that are quite nice information related. We have the part about creating your wizard with the Anvil Apotheosis. Okay, about Path to Glory, still not bad at all. And then we have the part about the Arcan duel that I think that it's really quite nice. I would like to try to play with it. And if you go to see about the part about Warhammer 40k, it's simply shut up and take my money. Because there are tons of information. If you are not being able to buy the Armageddon Return of Yarrick, here we have a mine of information. It's really quite amazing one, so it's fantastic in that way. Moreover, we have ton of information about Armageddon itself. We have about Wazdakka that it's wow, full of information. It has so much that by itself it's worth about buying it. Then we have all the part about modification, conversion, so on. We have also the part about the Imperial Knight that it's not bad at all in my opinion. So it's a complete way up because we have painting, we have modifying, we have conversions, we have background, we have alternative rules, so not bad at all. And also the part about the Battlereport, I found it really quite interesting because anyway, it was something that for the ones that read about the Armageddon Return of Yarrick, it was quite nice. And for the ones that are not read, I can anticipate you that if you're going to read, you'll be satisfied, because it's quite nice. So, okay, not bad at all. I admit that I would like more about Age of Sigmar, for sure. Maybe we'll see something in the future more, because technically we ended the 4 parts of the campaign a little about the end of the 10th edition. And so in June there should be the release of the new edition, but we don't know for sure when. So maybe we see something that it will be related in July. Okay, still I can understand. Even if I had to admit that of all the 4 parts of the end of the campaign of the 10th edition, I think that only the part about the avatar was horrible in the weather, because it was almost not understandable that it was talking about that. So okay, sincerely, this it's a Dwarf again that I suggest you. I say that it's shut out and taking my money. If you like Warhammer 40k, it's wonderful. If you like Armageddon, it's must to have. If you like the part about the orcs, or anyway to know much better about the happening itself, it's something to have. Really fantastic. I really quite appreciate such things. So this one, it's a Dwarf that is something to buy. I'm quite curious about your opinion. If you would have liked, as myself, something more about Age of Sigmar, you would have even more liked something again more and more about the Warhammer 40k and Armageddon, even if it's almost all the pages, okay? You would have preferred something else. You are going to really thinking about having the anticipation about the 11th edition, even if on Warhammer community we have a lot of articles talking about. I'm quite curious about your thoughts about such type of numbers, so quite intriguing to know your opinion. Anyway, from deynonmod it's everything. I invite you to subscribe to the channel, to ring the bell so to receive notification about new video, to comment under here about this video, or if you want to suggest me new videos. So I hope to see you again to the next time.